on the 19th of November 2025. We have Councillor Allison, we have Councillor Brogan, we have Councillor Buchanan, we have Councillor Carmichael, we have Councillor Chalmers. I'll just check if we've got Councillor Cooper. We don't have Councillor Cooper. We have Councillor Cowan, we have Councillor Devlin, we have apologies for Councillor Donnelly, and we have Councillor Dewar here as substitute. We have apologies from Councillor Fagan, we have Councillor Ferguson, we have Councillor Ferguson Miller, we have apologies from Councillor Handybode, and I'll just check to see if we've got Councillor Gowland. We don't seem to have Councillor Gowland as yet. I'll check if we've got Councillor Horn. We don't have Councillor Horn. We have Councillor Hose. I'll check if we've got Councillor Lambie. We don't have Councillor Lambie. I'll check if we've got Councillor Loudon. No, we don't have Councillor Loudon either. We have Councillor Hugh MacDonald, Councillor McClymont. I'll check to see if the Chair has managed to join. Yes, Councillor Leslie MacDonald is here. We have Councillor McDougall, we have Councillor McGeever, we have Councillor Razak, we have Councillor Ross, we have Councillor Scott, and I'll check if we've got Councillor Williams. We don't have Councillor Williams. Now I can see that we have Councillor Nugent and Councillor Toner, so I'll just check who they are subbing for. Hi, Councillor Toner, can you confirm who you're subbing for?
Subbing for Councillor Horn.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Councillor Nugent, would you be able to confirm who you're subbing for? Oh, Katie Loudon, sorry, thank you very much. There are a number of officers present, and with that, I'll hand back to you, Chair.
That's lovely, thanks Susan. Right, Bob, for the start of the business, is there any declarations of interest? No, I don't see any, so we'll go on to item 2, minutes of the previous meeting held on the 10th of September 2025. Do you agree that that's and approve these as a correct record of the previous committee? Agreed. Great. Item 3, minutes of the grievance and dispute panel held on the 22nd of October. Again, do you approve as a correct record of the panel? Agreed. Thank you. We're now going on to items for monitoring, budget revenue monitoring, and that will be for 25-26, pages 19 to 30, and I'm going to invite Graham Booth to speak to the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. Item 4 on page 19 is the standard revenue report for the resource, and this covers the period to the 5th of September. Section 5 details the financial implications, with the projected outturn for the year being a break-even position. And Appendix A notes the high-level summary of the services, while Appendices B to I provide the subjective analysis across the services. A number of amendments are proposed to realign budgets across the budget categories and with other resources, and these movements have been detailed in Appendices C to I as appropriate, and these relate mainly to budget being added for the 25-26 pay award and also our national insurance increase. The appendices also show the actual spend to the 5th of September for information. If I can refer members back to section 2 and ask that the projected break-even position on the 25-26 revenue budget for finance and corporate resources, as detailed in Appendix B of the report, be noted, and also that the proposed budget variants be approved. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Graham. Any questions? No, I don't seem to have any questions. Can we agree the minutes? Agreed, thank you. We'll now go on to item 5, which is the capital budget monitoring from 25-26. And again, it's over to you, Graham. Thanks.
Thank you. Item 5 on page 31 is the standard capital report for the resource, and again this covers the period to the 5th of September. This is our second capital monitoring report for the financial year, and it notes the budget of £645,000, and this includes an update approved by the Executive Committee on the 5th of November. At section 5.1, we're noting that the resources total capital programme is a £645,000, and that includes the budget increase of £100,000 approved by the Executive Committee, and the detail of this adjustment is shown in the bottom of Appendix A on page 33, and this relates to bringing in a budget for the year for the upgrade of the Council's website. At Appendix A, we're also shown a full forecast for the financial year of £645,000, and the spend to date to the 5th of September is £88,000. Again, can I please refer members back to section 2 and ask that Finance and Corporate Resources Capital Programme of £645,000 and forecast spend in line with that be noted. Thank you, Chair.
Do you have any questions on this paper? We don't appear to have, so can we approve this? Agreed. Thank you. Next item is Corporate and Finance Workforce Monitoring from July to September, and it's Michelle. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, Chair. Good afternoon, everybody. So this is an update on employment information from the 1st of July to the 30th of September 2025. It is a regular report that comes to committee, and you'll see the information contained with this in section 2.1. Taking committee to the bottom of page 35 at section 4.1, you will see the resource absence figure for September 25 was 4%, and this figure has remained unchanged when compared to the previous month, and is also 2.1% lower than the council-wide figure. Then just at the bottom of that page, that is projecting the annual average for the resource for 25-26 is sitting at 3.6%. If you turn over the page, you will see in page 36, in sections 4.2, 4.3 and 4.4, it provides a summary of occupational health, accidents, incidents and discipline, grievance and dignity at work. At section 4.5, you will see there was 5 leavers during this period and 2 exit interviews. Those numbers are low, there is a smaller resource, but that reflects a 40% return rate in terms of the exit interviews that were carried out there. I would refer committee back to section 2 in terms of the recommendations to approve the following information for that employment data for July to September. Thank you.
Oh, sorry, workforce monitoring. Any questions? Don't appear to have any questions. Can we approve that item? Get a green. Thank you. We'll now go on to item 7, which is council-wide workforce monitoring. And it's again Michelle. Thanks.
Thank you, Chair. Again, similar to the previous report, this is workforce monitoring information from the 1st of July to the 30th of September 25, but this is for council-wide. You'll see at section 4 at the bottom of page 41 that the Council's absence rate for September, as shown in Appendix 1, is sitting at 6.1%. This does represent an increase of 1.4% when compared to the previous month. And the figure remains unchanged at 6.1 when compared to September 24. You'll see a breakdown under that section which shows APT and C absence rate has decreased by 0.3%, and the teachers' figure has increased by 0.6%, and the manual workers' figure remains unchanged at 8.3%. You'll see, based on annual trends, that the annual average absence rate for the council for 25-26 is 6%. Turning over the page, page 42, going over to page 43, you'll see that section 5.1, 6.1, 7.1, information on occupational health, accidents and incidents, discipline, grievance and dignity at work hearings, and the data is detailed under there for each of those sections. In terms of section 8, analysis of leavers and exit interviews across the council, down at 8.2, halfway down the page, at page 43, there was 156 employees who left the council and there was 51 exit interviews that were conducted during that period. There's an increase of 48 compared to the same period last year, so that's sitting about 33%. You'll then see in section 9 there is recruitment monitoring information. There's obviously appendices supporting all of the data in the report, and that provides greater information on the applications we've received from disabled, black, ethnic minority background candidates and veterans. I would refer committee back to section 2 to note the content of the report for the employment information council-wide from the 1st of July to the 30th of September. Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. Do we have any questions on that item? Yeah, and Gladys Miller.
Hi, thanks, Chair. Michelle, they're brilliant figures for the recruitment monitoring. That's probably the biggest figures that we've seen at committee for disabled recruit candidates, black and ethnic minority, and the veterans. So that's excellent. Well done.
Thank you. Mo.
Thank you, Chair. Page 53, looking at the number of employees referred to physiotherapy, it's gone up by nearly 20%, and no, sorry, 10%. And also the number of employees referred to employee support officer has gone up quite sharply, 340 to 522. And number of employees referred to cognitive behaviour therapy has gone up from 21 to 99. Is there some more information in the background for that?
We do have more information in the background which you can pull together and we can share with you. We see it's a difficult situation, employee needs support, but it's a positive situation if they're actually accessing these supports through the council. Generally, what we find across the board with employee support, cognitive behavioural and counselling referrals, they tend to go up and down, but overall they tend to see in a kind of similar number. And again, with physio referrals, again, that can be a peak due to particular absences that individuals are off with. But we can provide some more information on that.
Thank you. I'm just wondering, because is there anything else we can do to help with that more than anything else? It's quite concerning that the figures have gone up quite sharply. And on page 59, I'm looking at the recruitment figures, and really pleased to see that the disabled applicants is 10%, so it's gone up quite to a decent level, but still not to the level that we should be looking at. The veterans has gone up to 11% when previously we've had 0% for quite a while, so well done for that. The other one is the minority ethnic and BME are still alarmingly low, so we're looking for a bit more information on that, please.
Yeah, in terms of your first question, we can provide a summary of the information that we do around absence management and also the promotional activities we do around health and wellbeing for our employees in terms of encouraging people to access these services. And in terms of the figures that you've mentioned on page 59, we have action plans in relation to all of these activities that we are working on updating, refining and improving. And I can provide more information. I don't know, we have some time planned just to go over some of that.
That's great, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Michelle. Any other questions regarding this item? Can I move this item then? Do we agree? Thank you. Next item is item 8, and it's Finance and Corporate Resource Plan, Q2 Progress Report 2025-26, and it's over to Tom Little. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Chair, and afternoon, everyone. This is your latest report in terms of performance against the resource plan, and you get a report like this twice a year, and this one covers a period to the end of September of this year. It comes, as usual, with two appendices, the first of which lists the resource outcomes that have been established to support delivery of the council plan, and in particular the outcomes it has for 25-26. The second appendix is referenced at section 5, and this supplies an update on all 41 performance measures we have for the resource plan. I have to apologise at this point. There's a couple of references at section 5 to quarter 4. It should say quarter 2. Apologies for that. As usual, we supply a summary table of performance measures, and that's at 5.2, which is page 62 in your papers. It shows that 30 of the 41 measures are showing at blue or green, 4 are showing at amber, and there are 4 at red. The red measures are picked up at 5.4, which is page 64 of your papers, for further scrutiny, and that includes narratives around improvement actions that are being taken with regard to those measures. The paragraph after that, section 5.5, notes there are no items from the last report, that was quarter 4, to update on. So I'll take you back, if I may, to the recommendations on page 61, and that is to note the various parts of this report. Thanks.
Thanks, Tom. Do we have any questions? Doesn't appear to be any questions. Do we approve this item then? Agreed. Agreed. Thank you. We're now on to item 9, which is the Treasury Management Activity 2026-27, second quarter review, and we're back to Graham Booth. Thanks, Graham.
Thank you, Chair. Item 9 details the Treasury Management Activity Report for the second quarter of 2025-26. This is our regular Treasury Management Report, and it provides an update on the base rate in Section 4. Section 5, at the bottom of page 79, provides details of debt management and borrowing, and Table 1 there shows the position for the borrowing for the year to the end of quarter 2. And what that's shown is that we've taken no long-term borrowing so far this financial year, and we've used our cash balances to fund capital spend as required. We have taken some short-term borrowing for cash flow purposes only, and these are from other public bodies such as local authorities. In terms of investment activity, on section 6 on page 80, this is about where we deposit our funds, and prior to depositing funds we make sure that the institutions are considered safe. We also make sure we can access the funds when necessary and that they're working well for the council. As I mentioned, part of the deposit methodology includes consideration of credit ratings and rating watches, as well as working with our financial advisors. Table 2 at the top of page 81 shows where we have deposited money so far this year, and it's similar to previous reports. What we've done is we've deposited most of our funds, over 98%, in the UK Government Deposit Facility and across other local authorities, with the balance being made in our Bank of Scotland call account. Section 7, halfway down page 81, continues the theme of managing risk and notes that the annual investment strategy from February 25 detailed how risk is managed and what investments are permitted. And tables 3 to tables 5 at the top of page 82 provide details on the deposits and credit ratings of banks and building societies that we've used up to the end of September 2025. What these tables show is that normal, we use counterparties of a very high credit quality, with again over 98% of deposits made with counterparties of very high credit quality, with the remainder in our Bank of Scotland instant access call account. Section 8 at the bottom of page 82 covers the plans for the next quarter, and this will be more of the same in terms of the approach that we'll take going forward. Deposits will continue to be placed with institutions where their ratings are consistent with the Council's approved criteria, and deposits will also continue to be placed with the DMO and UK local authorities. Finally, Section 9 on page 83 covers our prudential indicators, and we're required to report on these. I would report that, as shown in Table 6, we haven't breached the operation and authorised limits set for the year. If I can refer members back to Section 2 of the report and ask that the contents of the report be noted. Thank you.
Thanks, Graham. Do you have any questions? Don't appear to have any questions. Can we agree the item? Agreed. Thank you. We're now going on to items for decision, and it's item 10, revenue collection and approved write-off, and it's Craig Ferguson. Craig, thanks.
Thank you, Chair. The report advises committee of the collection performance 10 of September, gives an update in respect to the non-domestic rates incentivisation scheme for the year, and also seeks approval for write-offs. The current collection performance is detailed in section 4 of the report. Council tax is currently ahead of target by 0.05%. Non-domestic rates is also marginally ahead. The position for sundry debt sees it marginally behind target at the moment. Section 5 covers the arrears collection performance, with council tax and non-domestic rates both currently ahead of target, and the position for sundry debt equal to target. Section 6 updates in respect of the non-domestic incentivisation scheme. The buoyancy target for this year has been set by Scottish Government at 0.9%. Buoyancy at the end of September was actually negative 0.17%. So that means that the tax base must achieve growth of more than 1.07% during the remaining 2 quarters of the year to secure additional income under the scheme. Section 7 details proposals for write-offs. This covers the usual headings presented to committee each cycle, including council tax, non-domestic rates and also sundry debt. And if I refer committee back to the recommendations, point 1, the performance in respect to the collection of revenue is noted. The current position in respect of the incentivisation scheme be noted, and also at bullet point 3 there, the write-offs as noted below be approved. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Craig. Do you have any questions? Don't appear to have any questions. You're quite happy to agree this item? Agree. Thank you. We're now on to item 11, which is the procurement service, established post, and we're back at you, Craig. Thanks.
Yep, thank you again, Chair. The report updates committee on the current workload within the Council's procurement service, and also seeks approval to add 2 additional trainee procurement officer posts to the establishment on a permanent basis, and 1 additional trainee procurement officer on a temporary basis to help address workload demands. Section 3 sets out how we currently operate the procurement service, with a largely centralised service, delivering a number of core functions, including management of the procurement work plan, including contract renewals, extensions, and also responding to new requirements. Very much an assisting role in scoping procurement requirements, and also identifying appropriate routes to market with the council resources. And importantly, I'd also highlight just the management of the delivery of tenders being very much a core function of the centralised team. 3.2, we explain just how that work has increased over the past couple of years. I think it's a 33% in the value of contract awards over £50,000. And then moving on to 3.3 in terms of explaining how that's come about. That essentially has arisen from the resourcing procurement requirements required to meet the Council's strategic objectives, including investment programmes, regeneration and external funding, all contributing to that increased workload we have seen over the past 2 to 3 year period coming through the central procurement team. In addition to that, we've all seen the complexity of various procurement projects increasing, in part down to many having an external funding element. Moving on to section 4, the Council has invested heavily in an extensive trainee procurement programme, and as a result, the current structure of the team is heavily weighted towards trainee procurement officer posts. The view certainly is this programme has been very successful in attracting new staff with broad experience in assisting with workforce planning. However, there have been at times challenges around the ongoing retention of officers. Trainees themselves quickly take on responsibility for lower value procurement projects as a platform supporting more complex work. And a key component of the trainee programme is the provision of a professional training element to allow trainees to qualify with the Certified Institute of Procurement and Supply. 2 temporary positions were added to the structure in 2024 for a period of 18 months. The 2 members of staff have made very good progress within their training cohort, progressing lower value procurements, including mini competitions, direct awards, and will in time naturally progress towards more complex open tenders and framework arrangements. Section 5 details the proposal for committee's consideration. It's proposed that 2 temporary trainee procurement officer posts, grade 2, are converted to permanent posts within the procurement structure to secure that longer-term capacity, and also 1 additional trainee officer post added on a temporary basis for a period of 18 months for additional workload capacity over the short term. The employee implications detailed within Section 6, confirming the arrangements in terms of grade, hourly rate and the overall cost implications. And just to note, the 1 full-time temporary post will be graded at the same level as the permanent post noted in the table. In terms of the financial implications, the cost of the 2 temporary posts are currently being met from existing resources within finance and corporate resources, therefore no direct financial implications from that element of the proposal, and the cost of the new temporary post met by contribution from housing and technical resources, given the volume of procurement works undertaken and planned with the resource. And I refer committee back to the recommendations. Point 1, the need to permanently increase the resources to support procurement activity being noted. The proposal to increase the procurement establishment by 2 FTE trainee officer posts be approved, and also the proposal to add 1 FTE temporary procurement officer post be approved in addition. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Chair. Do we have any questions? Mo?
Thanks, Chair. Can you tell me how many procurement officers do we have currently just now?
So in total there we have at 4.4, we've noted that there's 13 trainee procurement officer posts, and that's for an overall establishment of 23. Within that 23, we have 2 advisor posts. We then have, I think, 4 to 5 senior procurement officer posts.
So we have 13, but is this plus another 2 that we're getting on just now, or have you included that?
The 2 temporary posts are included in the 13.
Yeah.
What represents additionality is 1 additional temporary member of staff.
Okay. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any other questions? I don't appear to have any. Do we agree the report? Agree. Thank you. Thanks, Craig. We'll go on to item 12, the consultation on changes of the Local Government Pension Scheme Scotland Regulations 2018. And it's over to you, Michelle.
Thank you, Chair. The purpose of this report is to provide an update on the Scottish Public Pensions Authority consultation on the proposal to change the Local Government Pension Scheme Regulations 2018, and also to provide committee with an update on our approach to responding to the consultation. In terms of the background, it's section 3, halfway down page 97. Elected members will be aware of the local government pension scheme as detailed here. That's just some information on how the scheme operates. At section 4, at the bottom of that page, the consultation is about the alignment of Scottish regulations to those of the rest of the UK, and it covers 2 areas: pension scheme members and technical amendments to the regulations. At 4.2, which is at the top of page 98, the consultation runs from September to the 25th of November 25, and the consultation questions and answers are detailed in Appendix 1. At section 4.3, and I'll not go through all of these, I know that you have the papers, but happy to take questions. You'll see that the key proposals in the consultation cover the following areas, which relate to death grants, the gender pension gap, child-related leave, opt-outs and participation rates, forfeiture, and employment relating to the provision of education. So that's the first part of the proposals in relation to scheme members. And at section 4.4, which is at the bottom of page 98, you will see the areas that the additional proposals cover in terms of aligning the regulations, and it's really from a technical perspective in terms of the regulations. And that covers the MacLeod remedy, survivor benefits, club transfers and other public service scheme transfers, members over 65, lifetime allowance and children's pensions. At the top of page 99, the last 3 areas are removal of references to EU law, consolidation of civilian Scottish Fire and Rescue pension members and concurrent membership aggregation. So that's just to give you an overview of the two areas covered by the proposals. At section 5 on page 99, in terms of proposed South Lanarkshire Council response, in terms of section 3 in the 4.3, sorry, in the report, the Council is supportive of the proposals which are intended to address in practical terms the fairness and equality issues linked to known pension gaps linked to gender and other demographic characteristics of scheme members. There's potentially financial implications for this for the Council, and that is covered later on in the report. And then you'll see at section 5.2, the proposed measures listed at 4.4 are simply about fixing scheme administration to reduce complexity and aligning the Scottish scheme to the UK-wide standards. In terms of sections 8.2, which is at the bottom of page 99, 8.3 and 8.4, that's some further background information. That is summarised at section 8.6, where what we've tried to do, based on the information that we're seeing through the consultation documents, is look at the financial impact on the Council in relation to applying this if this proceeds. So basically, we are estimating that the changes would cost the Council approximately £71,000, but again, that would be dependent on the number of leave requests, etc., that we see, and would also be tied into pension contribution rates increasing or decreasing. We will provide committee with more information once more information becomes available to the Council and provide a further update report on that information. I would refer Council Committee back to section 2 in the report recommendations that the contents of the report be noted and that the proposed response be approved for submission to SPPA by the deadline of the 25th of November. Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. Any questions? Don't appear to have any questions. Can we agree this item? Thank you. Next item then is item 13, which is the Common Good Update, former Vogue Building, and it's back to Graham Booth. That sounds terrible.
Thank you, Chair. Agenda item 13 is on page 107, and this is the Common Good Update report in relation to the former Vogue Building. Section 4 outlines that, as previously reported back in September, following the serving of a dangerous building notice, listed building consent was sought for the demolition of the remaining part of the building. This was subject to a consultation period which closed on the 7th of November, and no objections were received, and a decision notice has now been issued on the listed building application. Alongside this statutory process, a demolition contractor has been selected through an appropriate procurement process with budget costs estimated at £150,000. And it is proposed that demolition works up to the value of £150,000 be funded from the Hamilton Common Good Fund, and that the building is demolished after all the required approvals are in place. At section 6, on page 108, in terms of the financial implications, these detail the cash balances for Hamilton Common Good Fund held by the Council, and excluding approved commitments, there is £660,000 available to cover the costs of the demolition of the former Vogue Building. Members are asked to approve the recommendation in section 2 on page 107 that the demolition of the former Vogue Building, 11 Keith Street, Hamilton, at a cost of up to £150,000 be funded from the Hamilton Common Good. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Graham. Do we have any questions? Who is it? Colin Jewett. Colin.
Thanks, Chair. Due to the dangerous building notice served, I've got no issues with Common Good funding being used for demolition costs of the Vogue Building. Once cleared, this will open up the site for redevelopment and reopen the pavement for pedestrians and reopen the adjacent bus stop as well. I think, did I hear correctly, Graham, that a decision on the listed building consent has been made?
Just in terms of the latest update, yeah, there was no objections from Historic Environment Scotland, and the decision notice has now been issued. Historic Environment Scotland have also confirmed that they don't need to visit the site again, so yeah, it would be just now a case of the required approvals in here and then getting the procurement in place.
Right. So in that case, is there an indicative timescale for demolition and clearing of the site at all?
So in terms of after they're getting the required approval today, we'll let our procurement colleagues know just in terms of that. So it would be kind of imminently after, off the back of this, that we'd get in touch with the contractor for those works to start, say, following the meeting today.
Right, that's fine. Thanks.
Process.
Do you want?
Just to come in, obviously our colleagues in Community and Enterprise Resources are dealing with this particular issue that's not the finance part. So if it's okay with you, we'll just get an update from them just to keep members updated, because as far as Graham and myself are aware, Graham's given the update as of today, but as we know, things can change. So if that's okay, we'll get our colleagues to share whatever information they've got. Thanks.
Is there no other questions? Can we agree the report? Great, thank you. We're now on for items for noting, and it's my intentions from item 14 to 20 that we take them in bulk. Does anybody have any questions? Graham Scott.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to make comments about item 15, the statutory review of Community Council scheme of establishment. Obviously, there's 57 community councils in South Lanarkshire, of which 32 are alive and viable and 25 that are, to use the word, moribund. I notice a lot of them are in urban East Kilbride and urban Hamilton. Is the 57 community councils for the scheme set in stone, or what is the routine for potential amalgamations of districts inside East Kilbride and Hamilton? I noticed that your Larkhall, Blantyres, and obviously the rural areas where they're self-contained communities, community councils appear to be working very well, and obviously they're statutory consultees on planning and other issues. But for urban East Kilbride in particular, and parts of urban Hamilton as well, has consideration been given to amalgamations, maybe lowering the number from 57 down to a figure that may engender some interest for people to form a community council in possibly more enlarged areas? Thank you, Chair.
Right, Graham. Ian Strachan's coming in. Sorry, I can't see anything. The sun's blinding here. Thanks, Ian.
Okay, yeah, afternoon. Thank you, Councillor Scott. Yeah, it's a very, very good point. Intuitively, with only so many currently active, then you would have thought that when we come to review the scheme, that's something that members might wish us to look at that time and could form part of that consultation. We don't have to, but I think that would probably be the sensible time, and where I've conducted these reviews elsewhere in the past, that's what we have done. As you'll probably understand, appreciate, it is harder for people to find the time to volunteer for these sorts of roles nowadays as well, which might be part of that. But certainly I think probably that's something that we would look at, obviously without any preconceived ideas, but what might potentially work better, and having more community councils on a sustainable basis, if that assists.
You quite happy with that, Graham? Okay. Right, I don't appear to have any... Oh, right, Graham, thanks.
Sorry, it's just a slight technical problem there. Thank you, Chair. I take what Ian is saying is that may be looked at in terms of the boundaries. Hopefully I don't want to put words in Ian's mouth, but there might be consideration given to potential amalgamations in areas where there's, I'll use the word again, moribund community councils.
Okay. No, you're okay. I don't think, are you okay? Does he put words in your mouth? No.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely fine. Yeah, that's something that's subject to the views of council and others. We could incorporate that into a future consultation. But we did reference in the report that we would bring forward future reports about that, and importantly, so that the next council could help shape that approach going forward.
Thank you. Right, Mo.
Chair, apologise. I wasn't going to say anything, but I was going to say one thing is that looking at my own area, it's a number of groups that are set up is kind of maybe the problem as well, because we've got our own community planning, different groups as well, and maybe that if they kind of amalgamate everything together and make it into one group, it would be a lot easier and more people would be willing to come forward to stop the duplication.
Okay. Don't appear to be any more. If there's no further questions regarding any of the items, I can bring the meeting to a close. Two things I have to say. I hope Leslie and Walter get better sooner, start to feel better. And I know this is the last meeting before we head into the Christmas and New Year period. So I would like to, I know it seems dead early and it's going against my nature to start to wish anybody a nice Christmas and New Year at the end of November. But thanks for attending the meeting.